Unlock Alabama. Unlock Alabama. Yeah, we're building something now. Dreamers, builders, creators, movers. Started with an idea, now the room feels different. One spark turns a small move into something bigger. Unlock Alabama coming. Unlock.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to the Builder Challenge. This week is week 7, and yeah, seven's a magic number. I like number 7 actually, and I like number 28, which is my favorite number. I just turned 28 a few days ago, 2028, so very excited about this year, and also excited about this week because this week we're going over the art of storytelling. We won't be featuring the Outcast team, but we will be having the Unlock Alabama team put you on game for how to tell a really great story that sticks. So before we go into week 7, um, first we're gonna do our recap and to share a little bit more. I want you to go ahead and for the keyboard warriors, for the builders out there, go and get your fingers ready because you already know what time it is. Press 1 in the chat if you set up your own analytics tool. If you used Google Analytics, if you used old school paper and pen, if you used a Notes app, if you used Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets. Microsoft Clarity, PostHog. Awesome. Awesome. Nicely done. Press 2 if you picked a metric or you set your own North Star. Christina, it's all good. You are right on time. There we go. The twos are starting to roll in. Awesome. Press 3 if you submitted in the week 6 form. Ooh, looking kind of sparse. That's okay though. Make sure you submit in the form. I know a lot of you are actively working on your projects. Shout out to Jessica, who is the first person to submit in her week 6 forms. We, the Unlock Alabama team, had the receipts. So congratulations, Jessica. We'd love to see you hustling. You're really setting a high bar for our cohort. Awesome. So for the builders that set a metric, set a North Star, what was your metric? What is the metric that matters to you in your project? And Doc says community growth. Thank you, Doc, for sharing. Speaking of community growth, I just saw that picture of y'all on LinkedIn that Brooks shared from SauceTech. I think it was the meetup over at the Innovation Depot. And that looks like community growth to me and community involvement. Nice. Paul says number of searches. Awesome. Jessica says a level of personalization from the user's point of view. Ooh, yeah, you'll talk to me more a little bit about that. Brianna says number of visitors to landing page. Cool. It's really cool when you can actually see those numbers in real time. It's one thing when you don't know, but when you know, it's like, oh wow, now I have actual data. Depending on my inputs, I can make this number go up or down if it's quantitative. Marlo says how many onboarded. Fernando says number of users. Nice, nice. Good stuff. Next question. For my builders that have set up an analytics tool, no matter which analytics tool you used, which one did you like the most? Was there an analytics tool that we did not mention that you already use? Maybe it's already built into your platform. Maybe it's something within Lovable or something within Squarespace or for whichever services you use that hosts your platform, your app. Maybe it's not something that's online. Maybe it's something physical that you track. Paul says post hog. I had a feeling you were going to say that. Christina says she has one in Lovable. Marla says Lovable, the dashboard analytics. Brianna says Google Analytics and Microsoft Clarity. Fernanda says number of events created, number of guests. Fernanda, what platform or what analytics tool are you using to keep track of these? Doc, you want to make sure you may want to change those credentials. Paul, there might be a way to remove it from the chat. I notice it's being live streamed. Thank you, Paul. All right. Well, thank you all for answering. Next, we're gonna move on for shout outs. So this week we have a few builders to highlight who were really doing some impressive things, and they're building in public. And first, we have Miss Zaya Young, who's working on Gracefully Spoken. Zaya shared a video of what she's building in her platform over in school, and it really is awesome what she's doing to help prepare kids with getting access to speech therapy and speech therapy related services, as well as making a summer camp. It's really awesome. So make sure to check her out on school. Even award the magnetic mogul superlative. Keep on building. We're excited to see your progress. Next, we have Miss Ashley Cohens, who is building Talkly, and I hope I pronounced that right. I believe it's pronounced Talkly. If not, please let me know. And she went ahead and shipped a live paid community on school. I'm not sure if that's something we influenced, or hopefully, or maybe you already had school in mind before. But anyways, we're awesome to see that you created your community. Amazing work getting to create a platform where people can come and join live English classes and test it out. And for your progress for the week, we have awarded you the superlative of laser focused washer. Shout out to Ashley. And lastly, we have Miss Jessica Oxley, who is building Signal Path AI. Again, I don't know how Jessica does it. She's always on top of building and building in public. And it was really awesome to see how dedicated she is to serving the military members who are in looking or in a career transition. And I think Jessica was awesome. She's putting in the reps constantly. And so, Jessica, really want to shout you out for putting in the reps and getting feedback for your progress from the previous week. We want to award you superlative of feedback frontliner. Way to go. And so if you didn't set up your analytics tool or your North Star, it's all good. You still have time. I just want to let that be known. Also, I want to point out that this is a non-linear journey. So if you're going back to review the past sessions, if you're working on one thing that's quote unquote ahead, it's all good because everyone's journey is different. This is just the way we've structured it, but you're open to taking any of the lessons, any of the weekly challenges at your own pace, the way that you see fit. All right, and coming up next, we have announcements and challenge prizes. You already know who's coming up on stage. We've got Brother Brooks.
Oh, you can't even see me, man. Let's scoot over here. Let me just get over here. Yeah, I gotta be like halfway on the camera if I'm gonna be shouting at everybody. Howdy, folks. Yeah, I got the shirt. We got the shirt. If you came to a coffee meetup, you probably got a shirt. If you come down to Mobile July 18th, you'll also be hooked up potentially. You'll potentially get a shirt. You're gonna get you're more than likely to get a shirt. But okay, all right. Announcements, and I've got some prizes for you guys. So speaking of July 18th, so what happens on July 18th? Mobile, Alabama. Down here in Mobile, meeting up in person. So there's actually a good bit of stuff that we are going to do for you that day. The official, we're going to have an official evening programming from 6 to 8:30. You're going to get a chance to network with everyone, meet a lot of people. You're going to get to demo what you're doing around the room in Innovation Portal down in Mobile. But we'll have stuff actually going on all day. So I've decided that morning, 9 a.m., to do a coffee meetup. So I'll buy you a coffee if you're in town. If you come the night before, the next morning you can come hang out, have some coffee. You're going to go and see pole vaulting on Dolphin Street. I kid you not. In our downtown, there's going to be all day long. They're going to be pole vaulting, like literally, yeah, exactly. Like with the giant pole that you've seen on the Olympics, they're going to be doing it in the downtown streets. It's really cool. So that's happening. Then we'll have, you could do a 3D printing workshop at 2:00. Paul here is going to teach a Claude AI workshop about how to get the most out of your Claude subscription from 3 to 5, 5 to 6. We're going to have a vision board, goal setting, craft thing with Lily. Then at 6:00, the official programming starts 6 to 8:30. So it's we got all that going on. Make sure you RSVP. Paul's going to put a link into the... And he's already done that. Yeah, so you guys know, you're going to see it in the email. You're going to see it in the school. I just need you to RSVP. Let me know who's coming so we can help better plan the food, the drink, all that good stuff. Okay. Another thing, we had a group meeting earlier. We decided, in addition to some weekly prizes, we're also going to do this. At the end of all of the challenges, we're going to do an additional round of some prizes. And this is what we're going to do. For every challenge that you submit, you're going to get a drawing for a prize. So how many weeks do we have? We have 8 weeks. 8 weeks. 8 weeks total. So if you do 8, you have you have 8 chances to win that prize at the end. That's bucket number 1. Bucket number 2 is if you do all of the challenges, you're in a separate prize running. So there's going to be less people in that bucket because it's hard. Brooks Conkle is building beside you, and I am well behind. So I have a long way to go if I want to be in that prize bucket myself. Okay. All right. So that's number 2. Number 3, Number 3, travel for July 18th. Again, reach out to me if the only thing holding you back from coming would be like travel expenses. Again, send me a DM on school. We'll have a talk. Trying to figure out like scholarship money for that. So just an announcement for that. 4th, this is going to be coming up on the calendar, but on July 8th, and maybe Emmanuel is going to say it, but it's fine. I'll go ahead and say it again anyway. July 8th, we're going to have the partner of MBI, who's one of our sponsors, is going to be doing a live call with us to talk about like, fundraising, what he looks for in people. He's a builder himself. So it's going to be a fun, low key conversation. You can bring your questions for that.
Lillian asked an important question here.
Okay.
What will be the deadline for those 2 big buckets? Would it be the 18th or earlier?
Deadline is coming up. Well, I'm not going to give you a deadline tonight, Lillian. We'll probably know the deadline probably by next week. And the reason why I say that, Lillian, is because this whole idea for this additional prize package was formed about 45 minutes ago in a private session with Paul and I. Emmanuel is hearing this first right now. So he's like, what? So it's a good question. Or do you feel, should we say a date right now? I feel like we should give ourselves a week.
Let's see how many people come up.
Great.
Ready to rock.
Great question, Lillian. But yeah, we'll give you the date of how long we're going to let you guys have, because we have to be able to formulate it and do all that as well. Okay. We do have some prizes this week. Super cool. Were you wanting to show something real quick? The network thing?
I think that'll come after.
All right, cool. Okay. I do have 3 prizes. Prizes are, again, to win a prize, you know what to do. You do your challenges. You get in school. You comment on people. You interact. You stay positive. You build. You ask questions. You get involved. You already know that. Okay. 3 prize winners are Zaya Young, Tony Pyron, and Kofa War. Man. Oh man, I thought I had it. Miss Ajadi. I want to learn how to say your name though correctly. So okay, you guys are the 3 winners. Congratulations. Shoot me a DM on school to pick a prize.
Make sure you slide into Brother Brooks's DMs.
That's right.
All right. So what Brooks was alluding to earlier, there is a website. You guys can go and check it out. I'll put it up on the screen here. Oh, you got it up there. Yeah. Network.unlockalabama.org. Check it out. Wonderful website. You can see how poorly Brooks is doing inside of his challenges there.
It's true.
You can let him know how bad he is at this, because he's only done, you tell me, go to network.unlockalabama.org and see how few challenges Brooks has done compared to you. That's a great little activity. This website has all the information of people who have applied to Unlock Alabama. If you've done challenges, you generally will see, like if you go search your name on the website, you'll see yourself and information that you have put in your application, and as well as what links to the challenges, and you can see the links to other people's challenges. You can see the guides that are on there as well that you might want to reach out to if you haven't sat down with the guide yet. So check that out, network.unlockalabama.org. It's a fun website. This thing easily put together, and it has live data. So as you put in your weekly submissions, you will see your profile update, and so will the rest of the world. Be able to see this cool thing you did. You can share that link with anybody else.
It's a really awesome platform. Paul went ahead and built us with using Claude Code. So if you're coming to the events hosted on the 18th and you come in for the Claude session, Paul may be dropping some gems. Or he will be dropping some gems, but he may even be revealing how he built this gem.
Dude, just that session, I mean, I will go ahead and tell you, just that session is probably like a $500 at least, like a $500 value.
Yeah. Brooks says this because you could pay $500 for a session like this, but it is very much so something that you'd have to pay $500 a session for here in Mobile, in Birmingham, wherever you are. It's not cheap to get. Like, education around how to use AI effectively from folks that go and build this thing.
Yeah. So we hope. Yeah, I say that just to say I hope you come. If nothing else, like be like, man, I want to get to the session, and then obviously hang out with us as well. Like that evening. So, yeah.
That's all we got, Emmanuel.
I appreciate you all.
Your name.
Yeah, what is?
Oh, don't worry about
We'll
it.
have
It's
it.
coming.
We'll have it. It's coming.
It's coming.
What's
We're
the
not
bird?
telling you yet. We're not telling you just yet.
We only got one more week.
That's right. That's right. It's a big finale.
Hey, bring us back up a little bit later. Yeah, you might hear it then.
Sounds good. Oh, I can't wait
All
to
right.
hear what the E will be.
All right. All right.
See you.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul and Brooks. All right. So moving onward, if you are new, if you are catching up on past week's content, here's how you can access it within school. A quick question from Christina. Christina asks, my week one submission is on LinkedIn, so does that count for weekly submission? Yes, but you have to make sure you paste your submission link on LinkedIn, or your post link. Sorry, you take your post link on LinkedIn and paste it into the weekly submission link. If you put that in inside of Zara form, you'll be good and you'll qualify. Weekly submissions count on school too. You just have to make sure that you put it inside of, you paste the link and put it inside the form. If you can link to your posts from school and paste it inside the form, you'll be good to go. Thank you for asking. All right. So in order to access past week's content, you want to make sure you're logged into school. Next, you want to make sure you click on the Classroom tab up in the upper left-hand corner. After you do that, you want to click on the 8-week Build Challenge course. And from there, you can see all of the past challenges that we've covered each week, along with the tasks there. We'll also be creating a one-pager to just quickly show what we went over each week. That graphic will be getting released sometime tonight after today's session. So you can, if you want to catch up, if there's something you missed, if you forgot what is covered, we will have a one-pager there with a checklist that you can go ahead and see what items you can go ahead and submit for. All right, so happenings this week, we are having office hours from 12 to 1 p.m. This Friday, July 3rd, inside of school. Come slide in through school. We have open-ended discussions. You can talk about anything under the sun, from your project to obstacles you're facing to anything else. Myself and Brooks will be in there. It's very laid-back conversation, and we're here to help. Also, if there's other times that you would like to meet or talk with us one-on-one, I'm happy to give you my calendar link. You can schedule time with me to talk then as well. And just please send me a DM on school or on LinkedIn, and I'll get you squared away. All right, now moving into the lecture, but as you know, before we jump into that, I have to give a shout out to MBI Ventures, who is our wonderful event sponsor. So MBI is an operator-led venture firm that backs resilient founders with traction. To date, they have supported over 18 companies in 5 different sectors, and that's across surrounding media, sports, technology, fashion, consumer packaged goods, and fintech and entertainment. They write check sizes anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000, and they support companies anywhere from the pre-seed stage to Series A. So if you're building something and you're interested in maybe seeking out venture capital one day, go ahead and check them out. As Brooks said earlier, they are coming for a call, or we'll have a fireside chat the week after next. For details, please check in school. And it'll be a pretty informative call with the founders. All right, so jumping into today's session in our lecture, we'll be going over storytelling. First, we'll be talking about pieces of a demo, because before we can make the masterpiece, you got to have the individual pieces first. So every story has pieces. Thank you, team. Every story has pieces that shape it. And you've been making a lot of pieces over these past 7 weeks. Now you'll be putting it all together and tell it concisely. But before we do that, we're going to do it imperfectly. And I'll be explaining what that is later on. So if we can, there's a lot of different formats, a lot of different frameworks for telling a story. Now you have the hero's journey framework. You have other types of frameworks that you may have learned in school. You may have learned stories you separate into 3 acts or it's 4 acts, and they usually follow a similar structure. You are allowed to follow your own structure for telling your story, but here is a 6-piece format that we've devised and that we've actually ran with our interns about 3 months ago, where you'll be breaking up your story into 6 unique pieces, starting with intro and moving on to your project, talking about the weeds of the process, getting you to share the outputs in your progress that you made, ending with things that you learned, ways you transformed, and feedback for us, and closing out with what's next for you in your journey. And please note that these next set of questions are questions that are just meant to prompt your mind. You do not have to answer all of these. You can create whatever you want for each of these sections. These are just suggestions to get you going and get you rolling. Christina says, I have 4 acts on my newly designed website. That's amazing. I think I may have noticed that. I did see your post in school. Thank you for sharing, Christina. Yeah, if you're into plays, into theater, or into films, I think that 3 to 4 act structure is followed pretty closely. Even in video games too. Starting off with the intro. The introduction is where you'll tell the audience a little bit or maybe a whole lot about yourself. You want to keep this to 30 to 60 seconds. And here you can talk about who you are and give your 30-second elevator pitch if you're experienced with giving one. You can share background information about yourself. You can talk about your why. Does anybody still have their why written down all the way back from week 1? Let's see if anybody was paying attention during week 1 and wrote down your why. Awesome, Christina has it. Anyone else? Did you put it in your wallet? Did you stick it in your mirror? Did you write in your notes on your phone? Doc says yes. Brianna says yes. Nikki says yes. Fernando has it saved in the doc. Ashley says yes. Awesome. Yeah, I think what's so cool about your why is that it's unique to you. No one else most likely shares your why. So sharing in the beginning is a great way to create a strong hook and introduce yourself. Especially in your why is probably ties in or answers what got you started on this journey. Lillian says hers was, I want to start a fresh perspective. Awesome. Genevieve says yes. Lisa said yes. Amazing. If you click on the link that Paul put inside of the chat into the network.unlockalabama.org site, you can even search for it if you typed it inside of your first post, if you submitted it. It's all coming full circle. Next, the second section, the second piece of your story is your project. For your project, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is what you've been working on for the last 7 weeks, going into 8 weeks. Maybe if you've been working on this for longer than 7 weeks, you can include that time span too. And it's important to note, if you don't have everything done, that is okay. If you are not caught up, it's all good. Please use what you have. Your story does not have to be perfect. It's way more important that you tell your story than to keep silent. I just want to let that be known. So for your project, you can share things like what you're building. What's the one-liner? The infamous sentence that we force you to include inside of your weekly submission form every week. Mahaha. I think a lot of you have it memorized like the back of your hand by now. Anybody have their one-liner memorized like the back of their hand from typing it over and over again? Maybe you talk about it ad nauseum to your friends and family. Maybe you've written it down so much you can type about it in your sleep. And maybe your one-liner has evolved over time. Maybe your one-liner is still the same. Make sure to include your one-liner before moving on to different parts of your project. And here you can also share your original goal. You can talk about your user or your customer if you've got them, if you know your ICP, and you also know them like the back of your hand. If you don't, or you're still trying to identify them, that's okay. Share that too. You can share the toy version, your MVP, your V1, your first take, your early stage version of what you created at the beginning. And you could even compare it to the version of your project that you have now, the version of your business that you have now, the version of your app, your web app, your website, your newsletter, your YouTube channel, your media that you have now. Next, you're going to dig inside of your process. And I think this is really the cool part because your process are your inputs, and not only just the inputs that you did in public for the things that you shared with us on school, on LinkedIn, with your friends and family, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, next door, in person, online, but also the things that you built in private. Maybe you have sketches or mock-ups that you kept for your eyes only. Maybe there are things that you tested or you wrote down. Maybe you had some really enlightening in-person conversations or conversations that were held offline, or maybe some aha moments. These things are really special, and because they're still present on your mind, we would love for you to share these. And so your process, you covered inputs. These are all the things that you did in order to make progress on your project and or your goal. You can also talk about how your project evolved over time. You can share the places you launched. You can talk about how many times you launched, how many posts you made, the types of creative endeavors that you took. If you pivoted, you can share that too. Anything that went on behind the scenes or in the limelight for creating your project it'd be great to see. So please don't be shy with your process. I always love the process because everybody's process is different. Even things like, I think the word failure gets a bad rap because of the negative connotation, but I think failures are proof of you putting in the effort and proof of you putting in the work. Next, after process, we have progress. And as we have inputs, on the flip side of inputs, we have outputs. Here you'll talk about the outcomes and results. And again, do not be shy about this. We want you to brag about yourself, brag about the progresses you've made. Don't be modest. And here you can share about progress on your goal now versus when you originally started. If there are achievements that you're proud of, things that you didn't think you could do, share those. If you watch yourself grow in a new way, if you watch your project evolve in a way that you didn't see coming, or maybe you did hit your expectations, share that. You can talk about the challenges, the constraints, the obstacles that you faced. You can talk about the creative ways how you overcame them. If you had to ask for help, if you had to stay up late nights, if you had to spend a couple of extra dollars on a certain platform or service to get something working, if you had to work through bugs, or you had to contact, 5 different people to get advice for something, if you had to reach out to or cold call or cold email or cold DM a bunch of folks to get interviews for all the things for your tasks from these past 7 weeks, talk about these. Another thing you can do is also share your metrics. I know we just covered these last week, but there are metrics that you want to share from your platform for your project. Things where you can see growth, or you see a number you're surprised by, or a number that you can track like your North Star. Share that within the progress section. Next part of your story is going to include the learnings. So if the progress talks about the outcomes, the learnings talks about the specific takeaways and maybe even feedback that you have for us. And this is where you'll start to close that circle and bring your story to the end. So for many of you, this may have been your first time being a builder. This may have been your first time trying to be consistent at a project, held publicly accountable for a project. As Brooks was talking about earlier, we met earlier. We were talking, and we were talking about that. This is really this is a not so easy process of having to stay committed and accountable every week to growing and making improvement on your project. I for one am not perfect. I'm still working on my project. I have not submitted in any weekly updates on the forms. That means I am not qualified to get a prize. But if you can talk about that in your video if you'd like. If there were anything that you got from the program, like if you learned some new skills that you got under your belt, if there were the aha moments, if there were magic unlocks like, oh snap, I know how to do this now. Oh snap. If there are wins from your community from building in public, if you got to make some really awesome connections, if you got to talk about your story online, I believe everyone here is transformed. If you've been building for more than a week, talk about your transformation. If there are next steps for you in your builder journey, talk about that if you'll continue working on your project. If there are ways that we helped you, feel free to share. You don't have to. If there's things we could have done better, please feel free to share that as well. Quick ask in the chat. Whose first time, I should rephrase that question, that was improper English, sorry. If this was your first time building something publicly, please press 1 inside the chat. Just want to get a quick pulse check. Press 1 in the chat if this was your first time building something publicly. Awesome. Thank y'all for sharing. If you had to quickly describe it, if there was one word, like this is hard to do. If there's a word, a phrase, a sentence you could sum up your experience with so far, or like if you were to tell your younger self from 7 weeks ago what this would be like, what would you say? I'd say prepare for a roller coaster. Uncomfortable but needed. Thanks, Doc. Christina says empowering to design. Nice. Zai says push through. Yes. I love it. Jessica says accountability. Awesome. Lisa says be patient with yourself. I love that one. Lisa's my age twin. We're both 28. I'm trying to apply that for myself this year, being more patient with myself. Amazing. I can't wait to see your videos, by the way. We're going to throw a watch party. More information will be shared about that later on. And next, what is next for you? This is pretty self-explanatory, but here's anything that you like to end with for your video. You technically could end at step 5, but if you have next steps, if you're going to still continue building this, if you're still looking to fundraise, if you want to fundraise or raise capital or seek investors, if you're looking for customers, if you're looking for co-founders, looking for teammates, looking for users, if there's something that you want to end with on your video, feel free to share it. Feel free to share a call to action. Oh, we got more comments. I love it. Ashley says, the pressure to get the tasks done produce real results. I feel that one. Amazing. Genevieve says, it's a marathon, not a race. Everything will work out. I love it. I love the variety of answers in your questions. And they somehow all connect too. Doc says design responsibly. Ooh, nice. Christina says I was empowered to create and stretch myself beyond comfort. Ooh. Marlo says progress over perfection. I love it. Marlo, you embody that very well. All right. So next we have the masterpiece. So we have the pieces of a demo. Then we'll be putting together a masterpiece. And here's a quick look at what a deliverable looks like. So you are allowed to create a presentation. You can create a video of the presentation. You want to make sure you record your presentation if you're going to go that route. If you want to do a video without presentation and just talking on camera, maybe you're sharing your project inside of your screen using your free tool like Loom or using CapCut. You're free to do that as well. Or you can do a blend of both, or even get creative if there's something here that we didn't list. But we really want you to try your best to use your own voice and share your face inside of the video. So we're actually doing a prelim of next week. Next week is demo day, or I should say demo week. But this week is storytelling. We specifically want you to make a version that's not so perfect. And for this version, please keep text minimal. Do not include huge amounts of text and or paragraphs. Don't turn your presentation or your video into a novel. Sometimes it can get distracting if you have too much text. And if you're speaking through it, because the listener will try to read first before they hear, or they might do the opposite. And so it's really good if you can include pieces of media inside your journey. So things like pictures, if you have videos that you want to share of your process or your project or your app, share that, or your business, share that. If you have media, if you have like notes, comments, screenshots, messages, you can get very creative with this. And we want you to keep your video to 1 to 4 minutes long tops, no longer than 4 minutes, please. And this is in preparation for the video next week. So you'll be making one practice video, and you're going to be making a bad version on purpose to be shared in school. And speaking as somebody who is a perfectionist, I am a recovering perfectionist. I don't know about y'all, but I certainly am one. I try to do everything right the first time. And the huge downside to that is that this eats up a lot of time. And when you have something that looks and feels and it's like, oh wow, it's so real inside of my head, like I can see it perfectly, but getting it out is just rough. You have to go through that rough draft process. And so I encourage you all to create a bad video, make a bad demo video on purpose, and that will only be shared in school. I'm gonna say it again, you'll be making a bad video that will only be shared within the school, just for our community. It's not to be judged. You are free to share on social media platforms like LinkedIn if you'd like to, if you want to get extra comments or you want to get other pieces of feedback, you're more than welcome. But this is just to get the kinks out, because if you can get out a first bad version, the next iteration is going to be even better. There's a lot of when we ran this before in the past, one piece of feedback, great piece of feedback before from one of the interns. I won't say who for privacy. Was that they wish they could have spent more time on it. So if you're able to get a first version out, because it can always look good in private, right? It can always look good in your own workspace. But once you put it out there, it's like then you can see the things you can fix. You can see the kinks to iron out. Christina says in the chat, done beats perfect. Yes, that is correct, Christina. I think we shared that on our 101. I can't take credit for that quote. I got advice from that 4 years ago from one of my friends in Bed-Stuy up in Brooklyn, New York. Shout out Bed-Stuy. All right, and so we're gonna play an unusual game for today. If for this exercise, if you have a pen and paper, a pencil and paper, feel free to pull that out. If you don't have that, it's all good. What you're going to do is we're going to play something called BAD. Now, this game has no acronym. I couldn't find or create an acronym for this, so I thought I'd call it out for what it is. You're going to write out with your non-dominant hand what you ate today or yesterday. If you didn't eat today, I know everybody has, some people do intermittent fasting, some people have different kind of eating schedules. You're going to write down what you remember eating yesterday. So you're going to use your non-dominant hand. You can type this on your phone. You cannot use your dominant hand. If you're ambidextrous, I don't know what to tell you. You probably pass for this game. Try to use your toes for this. Yes, Paul says use your feet for this. You're going to write down what you ate. And then after you finish that, you're going to write it out with your non-dominant hand. And I want you to take, this seems silly, right? It seems so silly. But I was doing it out. I was doing this morning. I'll do it again because it's amazing. It's amazing the comparison between the two. So I'm going to stop yapping. Please pull out, if you're using your laptop, open up a note, open up a Google Doc, open up Microsoft Word, someplace you can write in text. I want you to type with your non-dominant hand what you ate today or yesterday. Bonus points if you do both. If you have access to a pencil, to a pen, and a sheet of paper, a notebook, someplace where you can write responsibly, I would like you to write out what you ate. Can we play it 1 minute, 1 o'clock, team? Oh wow. Ashura says I'll use my elbow. Awesome. I just finished up too. So here's my left hand. Share right 8. So I had 4 eggs. I had a pumpkin loaf slice, and then I had a bacon, egg, and cheese afterwards. This is my writing with my left hand. Press L in the chat if you wrote with your left hand. Press R in the chat if you wrote with your right hand. Nice. How did it feel? Brooke says like a toddler. Christine says I did really good. Doc says alien. Awesome. If you roll your elbow, put E in the chat. Can't forget about LaSure. Or you roll your foot, press F. Awesome. Now we're gonna put 30 seconds, or if we can, or maybe a minute on the screen. And now you're gonna write the same sentence that you wrote with your left hand with your right hand. I know it's really fast, but this time you had an advantage using your dominant hand. Zaya says, it was hard starting out, but it became easier as I continued. Brianna says, the whole time I was thinking I can't write better than this, LOL. Usher says, I'm even-handed, unfortunately. That's a blessing. That's awesome. How did it work with your elbow, Usher? Brianna says, I think both my hands are non-dominant. Awesome. Now, how did it feel writing with your dominant hand? It felt natural, right? Natural and easy. Thank you, Lisa. Christina says weird for some reason. And when you look at both of your writings side by side, if you typed, you might not be able to see the comparison. But if you did write it down from using your left and your right, what it comes down to is experience. Doc says, "Oh, like the right hand has something to prove." All it comes down to is just the amount of experience that you had writing it. And so it would be really unfair to judge yourself on the writing of your non-dominant hand versus your dominant hand when your non-dominant hand hasn't had the amount of time and experience and energy and practice and craft with writing. It wouldn't be fair. And so for making your bad version for your video, this is where if this is something you're uncomfortable with or something you haven't done yet, if you haven't done your marketing video, this is your time. If you have done your marketing video, maybe it's your first time doing your marketing video, this time where you get to write with your non-dominant hand again. This is the time where it's like we're not judging our non-dominant hands writing. Now, if you have done this before, congratulations. You're writing with your dominant hand. Amazing. We're excited to see your your demo video, but it's important to start because we're not going to judge ourselves for this. And I hope this exercise got that across. All right. And so next we have the art of storytelling. This time we're not going to feature Outcast, but we're going to feature producer Paul and Brother Brooks. Please come up on stage.
Called us back up.
Thanks, empathetic Emmanuel. Appreciate you having
Empathetic
us.
Emmanuel. That's what we've been working on this whole time.
Thanks. I appreciate that. It's very, very fulfilling to hear and brings warmth to my heart.
Yeah,
There we
man.
go.
We went through a lot of options to land on that one, actually. So we thought that one.
I thought
landed.
that may have been egotistic, so I'm glad it's the opposite.
No, man, that wasn't even
Never.
that wasn't even on the list.
From Brother Brooks,
Yeah.
and producer Paul, absolutely not.
Yeah, that wasn't even on the list, man. All right, what are we doing?
Before that, did you both get a chance to try out writing with your other hands, or y'all had business to tend to?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah, that's why I said I felt like a toddler.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like a toddler with my left hand, my right hand. Who is it that said, was it Christina? She's like, it felt weird for some reason. Actually, I could relate to that when I wrote it again with my right hand. I was like, it was almost like, I mean, it was normal, but it felt slightly weird. And I can't put I don't know the reason either. So I feel you, Christina.
I feel like it's uncoordinated, where it's like right when you start to learn like a new dance move or something like that, and you're like, all right, let me try to figure out how to move my body in this way, and it just does not work. And you see yourself, you're trying to match the movements, and it's just not happening. That's the feeling.
I think even what Shirt says, he challenges them to type with his elbows and write with two elbows. And I think it's impressive because you see some people who are actually able to do that given their birth conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you both for participating in the exercise as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So for this section, I'm just going to ask if you open-ended questions. We got 4 on the board, but I want to dive in and learn about you both some more. I will dig into the lore, producer Paul and Brother Brooks. For the first question, what's the story you tell about your projects that gets people interested?
Okay. You say about a project. Story I tell about a project. Since I've talked a lot about deep root and stuff like that, I'll say a different one. So when I was in college, I did internship. And at that internship, the story that I tell folks that I was like about to apply to a new job with, or just to other folks about what I did this summer. I opened up the story saying like, so yeah, I took down Google Flights. If you couldn't buy a flight for a little bit, that was me.
What?
Sorry. And break down the story from there. But people get interested when you point out something that they might recognize as that somewhere.
You said on Google Flights, man?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
It's a strong hook.
Yeah. I took down Google Flights. Oh yeah. That's your next post, man. Yeah. That is the hook. Yeah, I took down Google Flights. It's an interesting question, man. What, because you're saying like, what gets people interested? And it's like, well, are people? It's almost like we should ask those people. But I can tell you, on a personal level, like what I do, what I have done, probably what I'll continue to do is like, I feel like I talk about stuff that I'm doing, like things that I'm doing for my business. Like, for example, these 8 weeks, like going through this and building in public, I feel like I just do that always. I kind of just make posts about like, oh, I tried this thing. This was really cool. Or like, oh, this like, I tested out this thing and it failed miserably. Who can relate or whatever. I feel like I'm just actively, I'm kind of just like taking the mirror I just feel like I'm actively taking the mirror on like what I'm doing, and then I just flip it around and just like put it out in public. And I feel like I've been doing that. So think I've been doing this, and I think I've just been doing it so long. It just like feels, I guess it feels natural to me. Like I'm not scared to just like talk about anything, like anything that I'm working on.
I'll say like one more recent, like looking at like because we just read at Sloss Tech. You know, if y'all are in Birmingham, you might have saw us at Sloss Tech. When I tell the people about Unlock Alabama, like the basic stories go like, hey, we got people all across the state of Alabama building really cool stuff. There's one guy riding around in Auburn on a bike with a power washer, and there's another student who's like building a cool app that's for the local community. Like those are stories that really get people interested. That I've recognized, whether it's a state funder or like somebody, a VC inside of another state, being like, wow, that stuff's happening in Alabama. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I love that, the authenticity. And I think like not being scared to share that pulls has a gravitational effect in the way of hearing from both of your anecdotes. Question number 2. When did you realize your first version of the story wasn't working? What changed?
These are philosophical, man. When did you realize your first version of the story wasn't working?
It was real easy and real quick at Sloss Tech. I sit down, somebody asked me, so what is Unlock Alabama? Then I start explaining, well, it's like an 8-week program. And it, like at that point, the person's lost. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But then like if I open up with like, oh yeah, we got these cool folks inside of here. One person moved from being a SaaS to a service business. Is like, oh, really? Now they're interested. Like the switch was again like coming to something that's relatable, coming to something that they could like put in context and can fit in their head very quickly.
Actually, it's funny you saying that makes me think of an example at Sloss Tech where I was having a conversation with someone else. I'm actually going to flip it to the. It's a buddy of mine. It's a buddy that beat me in the. Beat me in the Hatchathon. He won first place. Super cool guy, Anthony. Anyways, he was describing his company that he's running right now, and it's in the legal arena, and they have a ton of services for people in the legal arena. But it was like 2 or 3 minutes of explaining that, and I was kind of like, oh man, that's a lot. And he was like, yeah, basically we're doing for law what Zillow did for houses. And I was like, dude, that's what you need to lead with. I was like, that's what, I was like, I get that. And I was like, people will get that. And so, I guess in essence, the first version of his story didn't work with me, but the second version did. And that's kind of what you're talking about. Yeah. So,
yeah. One thing, like one of the first bosses I had outside of college, like inside the real world working, one of the things that he was always like very keen on was that and he was a very technical person. Very technical boss. He points out is like, you need to be able to take whatever paragraph you're going to tell me, break it down into like 2 sentences, and then break it down to 1 sentence, and then break it down to a phrase, because like that's the phrase that I want to hear you say first before you tell me the rest of it.
Oh, that's pretty good, man. Oh, that's a good example. I like that.
I love that. I love that you both included the importance of getting the bad version out first. Like it made you realize like, whoa, something needs to. And the next version is like, oh, snap. Okay, cool. This is starting to resonate more. People are not falling asleep at this.
Yeah.
Question number 3. How do you talk about what you're building to someone who has no idea what it is? And Brooks, I feel like you inadvertently answered this, being on the opposite side of giving feedback to someone because you didn't understand what they were building. And then they gave you a perfect analogy.
I was a little, so I'll get back to that one. Yeah. Cause I was I was slightly confused. I was trying to keep up, and I was just slightly confused. And so when he gave me that second piece, I literally stopped him. I was like, dude, that is a perfect explanation. And then I went on to say, hey, do you know who Richard Barton is? And I was like, I think that's his name. And he was like, what? I was like, hold on, let me look him up. And that is his name. I was like, I had just heard a few days before that Richard Barton's the guy that started Zillow, by the way, that guy had done the same thing for Expedia, Richard Barton, and also Glassdoor. He takes messy data and he structures it and organizes it for the public. I feel like I've heard you talked about that a little bit, Paul. And so like that's literally what that guy was doing for the legal thing. So I gave him like homework after that too, and he was like, "Oh yeah, dude, I want to like look into this guy." So
I like how simple that explanation was too. Like anyone can understand it. I can tell my mom this; she'd understand it.
yeah,
It really comes down to being able to be concise, which is difficult, especially for folks that are experts, that have a lot of expertise, because like you got a ton of jargon in your head that you've like gained through hard effort and experience of doing the thing that you're interested in doing. But to talk to somebody else, you have to like pull away from all of that and have enough empathy to like be in their shoes to hear about it for the absolute first time. And it's hard to do that. It's like a cognitive dissonance that goes inside of that, but like it's a skill like any other. You get better at being concise and being very clear. One thing that folks will often say when I'm like explaining technical things or AI and things like that, like they'll say like I explain it very well, but like I'm not doing anything really new or exotic inside of how I'm going about talking about these things. The key thing is that like I'm trying to be as concise and simple and starting with the same things that you already have in your head to be able to build up to this new idea. And like sometimes, especially with really complex ideas, you have to build up. You have to start with some simple concepts and get agreement. Like if the person gets lost at any point, you want to be aware of that very actively to make sure that like they're following along what you're saying. But like it has to stay simple. You can't come in and introduce new jargon trying to explain a new idea. The jargon has to be separated out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm loving these answers and the empathy behind these answers.
Empathetic Emmanuel.
That's y'all. Number 4. What do you wish someone had told you about putting yourself out there early? I think, Paul, you kind of alluded to this with the anecdote you shared earlier about your former boss helping you give a concise summary of what you're about to send.
Yeah, I'll say like even earlier than that, there's a company down here called Bluefish, which is like a marketing firm that does a little bit of technology. That was my first like actual job. I was down here in Mobile, and like the job that they had me do was copywriting. So I had to learn how to copyright effectively. And then I got really good feedback from marketers around how my copywriting was. And like very early on, they pointed out, I was like, ain't nobody gonna read that. And nobody's about to read whatever you just wrote down. And you need to make sure that that inside of the smallest amount of reading, the person's gonna either get it or be interested. And so like it's really important that you think about like those first few words, and then from there the first few sentences, and then like stopping if you expect to have somebody who's not going to be paying a whole bunch of attention to what you're writing or what you're saying. Like it's important to have that first impression, that first like bit of what you're doing, because that is your first impression. It's like the moment that they see your face, and they could have a jump scare or they could like lean in more.
I was just gonna build on one thing you said. Is I heard someone say about copywriting, like your job's to like have one line, and then your next goal is to have them move to the next line and read the next line, and then that goal should be to like lead to the next line. Like your goal is to always like move them like through, move them through the text that you have. What do I wish someone told me about putting myself out there early? I don't know. Nothing's coming to mind. I kind of just hope, I'm going to like speak to myself right now and say, I hope that I continue to put myself out there for the remainder of my career in life. Like over the next, whatever, I don't know, 30 years, man. I hope that I continue to do that, because I feel like I've kind of been doing that. Maybe I can even ramp it up some. So I'm kind of just speaking to my future self and just saying that.
Appreciate sharing. And we've got a comment from Fernando who says, building in public, should have been doing that with all my previous projects. I still need to do more of this, inside of parentheses. A big one is to stop worrying about your impression/embarrassment. Put yourself out there and stop worrying.
Totally
That-
agree. Yeah. Sorry.
It's almost no, you're good. I think it's almost like no one else is paying attention to you or keeping a microscope on you like you do yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is interesting. I feel like a lot of the folks on the call is probably it's their first time kind of doing that, really getting out there and kind of making some of those posts. I think the three of us are probably more used to it. When I say three of us, I'm talking about like Paul and Manuel. I think we've kind of, on a personal level, we've kind of been doing that. So we're not like as concerned maybe with what, people are thinking or whatever. It is interesting though that people are not concerned. People are not concerned with us, man. Like everyone's just concerned about themselves. Everyone's running their little life. They're doing their little thing. Maybe they're scrolling, and maybe it's just a scroll just for entertainment. Yeah, they do not care about what you're doing. So get out there and like create stuff and try to help the people find it that need to like see what you're creating. Ooh, read that one.
From Brianna, don't think, just do. Is what I tell myself when I know I'm about to overthink.
Ooh,
I
like
love
that.
it. I like that. My mom, well, I have a quote from my mom that says, keep it simple, stupid, or keep it stupid, simple. One of the two. And I try to tell myself when I start to get into that rut of overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you both, Brother Brooks.
Yes,
and Bridget
sir.
Paul, for coming on stage.
Yes, sir, Mr. Empathetic Emmanuel.
Thanks, y'all. All right. The last section for tonight will be the tasks. Now, these tasks, we got some fun planned for you all. Now, you get to choose which task you embark on for this week. You can either do you can do a 60-second elevator pitch, or you can do a up to 4 minutes, so a 1 to 4 minute. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to take up the whole 4 minutes. A bad version of your demo video, including all the 6 or 5 to 6 pieces that we highlighted earlier. Now, the 60-second elevator pitch. If you're comfortable doing an introduction or a video and talking briefly about your project, kind of like if you're going to a conference such as SLOSTEC, or introducing yourself, or even including your demo inside a 60-second elevator pitch, you feel free to challenge yourself to do that. And for this, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Same for the 4-minute bad version of your demo. You can use the front-facing camera on your phone, front-facing camera on your laptop, your webcam, back-facing camera, whatever you have access to. Feel free to use those tools to make this. And this will be shared inside of school. So this is you writing with your non-dominant hand, and just to get the bad one out of the way. So you can look at it later and see how we can improve on it for next week, and when we start making our actual demo video. For extra bonus points, you can share this on socials if you want to go above and beyond. And next, what we'll be covering inside of the lab is creating an outline for your video. You don't have to do this, but I think outlines, for some people, this works really well if you write about what you want to talk about. And I think if you're able to write this, I think you should give it your first go. My opinion is use it without using any type of AI assistance. Just to get into the emotion and to probe your brain about the things that you've built. Also, if you want to see your past submissions, you can use the tool that Paul made to log into the network, to unlock Alabama Network, and see your previous posts if you want to jog your memory about the things you built before. So Paul has dropped that link inside of the chat. And so your build in public posts are really the key to making this video, because you've been able to share these pieces to your masterpiece up until now. So please make sure to RSVP for next week. Next week is the last week, week 8. So you want to make sure you've got the notifications on for that if you aren't already RSVP'd. It's crazy how fast we're moving. I'm so excited at the progress I'm seeing from you all. All right. So after this, we'll be moving on to the lab section of today's session. And please note this lab is optional. We'll be covering over how to write an outline. As a heads up, we'll just be answering some of the questions that we posed earlier. And you can comment. It doesn't matter how far you are. If you haven't completed all the past 7 weeks content or past 6 weeks content in tasks, that's completely okay. Please bring and use what you have thus far. Quote, unquote, done is better than perfect. Again, here are the tasks for this week. You have to choose either A, making a 6-second elevator pitch that you record on your phone or device, or making a full 1 to 4 minute bad version of your demo video or demo presentation. And please no longer than 4 minutes. It's optional subtask. You can create an outline for your video if that's something that will help you out. All right, so now we're going to break for 5 minutes. Right now it's 7:18 p.m. CST. We shall see you at 7:23 p.m. CST. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the lab portion. Again, this part is optional, but here we'll be taking a very quick, because of time, we'll be taking a very quick look at how to make a demo video outline. And we'll also be introducing another AI tool you can use for this. It won't be for generation, but for transcription, for turning your voice into text. Before we get into that, though, first, here's a quick look at these 6 questions. With the 6 pieces that we have here. And I'll also share this link inside of the chat. The link to these are the same questions. Again, you don't have to answer all these questions. If there's something about your demo or your project that's not listed here that you want to share, feel free to use that in lieu of some of these questions just to get your mind rolling. But here's where you can just talk openly about your stuff. And so we're going to be using a free tool called TL Draw. It's one of my favorite tools I've used for whiteboarding. You can make this using you can use a free account to make this. All of your stuff is saved. You want to make sure your This is a view only, so you'll be looking at the template version. And in my version, Eman's version, I'll be copying this and working in that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly copy this. And I'm going to paste it onto my version. Thank you, Paul, for sharing that inside the chat. And I'm going to talk about my project. I pivoted to a project called Hello UFO. And so Hello UFO is a Mac app timer to help you finish your work. And so the goal is the timer will abduct all your apps after it finishes, and you have to finish your work before, otherwise all your apps get closed out. So here is where we can talk openly about what we built. So here, I could just write out my answers. Uh-oh. Where'd you go? All right, there we go. I think I have to write something first. That's why it keeps disappearing. Let's make this an extra large size. Boom. So who I am Emmanuel Perez. I work extremely well under pressure, having ADHD. I am the head of mentorship for Unlock Alabama. I got started on my journey because I wanted to find a way to engineer urgency. Now, this took me some time because I was typing this out by hand, but there is another cool way to do this. There's an app out there called Whisperflow. I'm going to share a link to that inside of the chat. This is available for Mac devices. It's available for Windows devices, and this is also available for mobile devices. I believe for Android as well. You can use my code for a free month, or use the code that the link that Paul has dropped within the chat. And there's also a free version of this called Handy. If you want to use an open source based app, I'll also share a link inside of the chat. There's also other ones too, but Whisperflow is cool because it dictates your speech with 99% accuracy. So instead of me having to type all this out, I can just yap into my microphone and it'll capture everything down. My typing speed is about 70 words per minute. I think it's about the average. I think the average is like 60 or 50. I'm not too sure. It's nothing to brag home about, but your talking speed is usually double, triple, or quadruple that of your writing speed. And so Whisperflow, you just press a shortcut on your computer, and it automatically activates. I can either hold the button down, or I can press it twice. So now I'm going to talk about our project. I'm currently building an app called Hello UFO. Hello UFO is a Mac timer app to help you complete your work before the deadline. My original goal for this was to make $100 in revenue. My ideal user for this app is someone who has ADHD or ADD and works extremely well under pressure, and they just need some kind of consequence to keep them going. So now unfortunately for TO Draw, I don't think it automatically compacts the text, but it's all here. So let's press enter to censor it. It's one thing I wish it would fix. And boom. Now I've got my let's try it again. Boom. Now I've got my answer for slide 2 down. I'm actually going to section this a little bit neater because it looks all over the place. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. And now we're making some progress on the outline for our video. Yes, Reality. I love the neurodivergent community. We got special brains that we gotta take care of that function differently from everyone else's. Fernando asks, side question, how do you make such sleek UI UX on your website, which is hard work or a specific Claude skill? Great question. I used a skill for Codex. Codex is my agent of choice. And Paul, feel free to hop on too if you want to talk about skills. I pull my skills from this site that Vercel has called skills.sh.
It's a great website. A great website full of great skills.
And they use director agent to this. And what's cool about this is you can just search it here. And so I use front end design. And sometimes I'll skip this because front end design, like I think it's starting to have this tan feel now because of just the branding that Anthropic uses for Claude and other Anthropic-related material. So what I'll do is like for this site, Hello UFO, I got inspired from this other site called Doc.cool, where someone else was building a app for widgets. So I just had a Codex analyze this, and I was like, I want to make a version of this, but for my own app too. And it took a minute to work through, but eventually I got it down.
There's a lot of websites that will provide you with more interesting, like kind of front end UI types of things. One that is very helpful if you like the way that Like Emmanuel's kind of has this 3D kind of feel to it is this website called Spline, which is all about adding 3D stuff to your vibe coded websites. Spline is a fantastic resource for those types of 3D assets. And if you try out Spline, a lot of it's free. And I'm pretty sure they have some cool vibe coding things like built in there for folks who are just trying to put together a really cool looking website.
Thanks for sharing the resource.
Yeah.
I had no idea about this. I'm gonna have to use this.
Yeah, get a lot more 3D stuff inside your website. I remember playing with this probably like 4 years ago.
This is tough.
Pre-AI. There's a lot of cool stuff that they have in there that you can pick up and add to your website. All you got to do is just copy and paste the prompts.
Yeah, this is slick. I went the hard way and I generated video on Gemini, and I tried to do it a motion-based background on Replit. Cost me like $25. I wasn't satisfied with the video, and all the time I could have used this.
Drop this. Nice. Go here. Drop this joker inside of Claude Code. You're on to the races. Simple and easy. Simple and easy. Yeah, the nice thing about Spline is that you can edit it too. You can play around with your animations, play around with your 3D things, go find other 3D assets, and then they got some AI features so that you can make 3D assets. It's a lot of fun stuff you can do inside of it.
So you're telling me I just drop the link, I'd share what I want. I tell my AI agent harness and choice what I want. I give it the Spline link where I sign up and make an account, pass credentials over to the AI agent, and it goes to work. So I don't even know how to set up 3D objects.
You don't need to know how to set up 3D objects. What I'm saying is that Spline allows you to edit 3D objects like as if you were just playing around with Play-Doh, right? Like it's a very fun editor for 3D things. Your AI, however, can like use Spline, and I'm sure inside of skills.sh there's a Spline skill specifically to do the workflow that you just laid out. Spline is paid, but there is like free parts to it as well. I've never paid for Spline myself.
We love $3.99 over at Unlock Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I see some Spline. I just searched Spline on skills.sh, and there's things that pop up. Yeah. 3D integration, 3D integration.
Yeah, people know it's a really great tool, especially if you like to if you have a design bone in your body and you want to play around with the design a little bit more without having to pay the $25 that Emmanuel had to go through. You know, it's an easy way to do it.
Thank you for resource. And if you're interested in learning how to use a coding agent, come out to Paul's workshop happening on July 18th. What time is that again?
3 o'clock. Yeah, it'd be up to 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 to 5 p.m.
Awesome. This is kind of bright. I'm gonna put this on. Is there a dark mode feature here? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I definitely don't know where the dark mode feature is. I know it's kind of bright. But for each of the questions, you can add in your own things too. So for myself, and I'll probably have to wrap it soon because we're right over time. But I'll share honestly, for myself, for progress and for process, I'll talk about these a little bit. My process was I went ahead and showed my cousin, my uncle, and a few friends about the concept and idea. And I even joined a community of people who build Mac apps to get advice from them. And next, let's talk about my own process. The only place I've launched thus far was on Twitter, and that was 2 times. And I plan on pivoting. Right now, it's an app that retroactively closes out your apps once the timer's up. But I think something that could actually sell is an active MacNotch app that abducts the distractions while you're working during a dedicated time. So if I pull up Spline when I'm supposed to be working on Unlock Alabama stuff, it automatically abducts the Spline tab or the Spline app on my computer. And I'll talk lastly about the progress. Right now for the progress, I've made $0. I've launched my product just yesterday, actually. And I'm proud of shipping it. This is my second iteration of the website. And the challenges and constraints I faced, I didn't think it would take this long for me to ship it. First time making a Mac app, it's one thing making it for yourself, it's another thing packaging it up and selling it for others and going through that entire process and setting up terms of service and privacy policy. But yeah, I've not checked my metrics yet, so I have nothing to brag about yet. But I'm looking forward to the metric I'm tracking is the number of customers. Right now I'm at 0. I'm pretty sure once I update this app, I'll change my North Star to maybe something simple as number of distractions abducted. So this quick overview of how you can talk about or type in your notes through Outline. Again, whatever works best for you. And after this, I'm just going to make a video talking through this that is 4 minutes long and include some pictures of my process behind the way. I have a bunch of, I've got some pictures of me coming up with the idea and typing it live in the Codex. So I'll share that inside of my bad version of my video. And I'll go ahead and end here and move on to the next portion for the Hangout sesh. So really quickly, today in our lab session, we made an outline. And for this, we just use a TLDraw account, which is free. You could log in on Google. If you need help with your outline, help with your bad video, help with your presentation, please hit us up in school. We're here for you. We're here to help. You can DM any one of us. And lastly, you want to check the chat for the week 7 submission link. that'll be dropped down in chat below and up for you to scan as a QR code on the screen in just a few moments. That QR code has now been added to the page, to the screen, sorry, and is inside of the chat. Lastly, you want to make sure you're RSVP for the next week, week 8, our final week of the Builder Challenge. We've come such a long way, but we're going to finish out strong. That QR code has been updated, so if you haven't already, please go ahead and RSVP and add that to your calendar so you don't forget and don't miss it. Thank you, Paul and Brooks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
Who wants to hop in? Hop on the screen.
You can vid chat with us. We can just chat. Take it easy now in the feed. Whatever, man. That's a good call.
If you want to talk about your video, if you want to talk about progress, where you're at, feel free to come through.